All right. Welcome back to the More Than Different podcast with your co hosts, Brendan McNamara and Colin McNamara, back in the building. Special to be here, as always, see.
Yeah, I couldn't thank you enough for allowing me to join this pod.
Yeah, you were
It's always a pleasure to be on the MTD podcast with the fellas getting after it. We got a good little topic today. Fired
Yeah.
up about it.
Yeah. So I went to the Boston Public Library just down Boylston, not far from my dorm, a couple weeks ago.
How was that place? I've never been.
Oh, it's
Still.
unbelievable. Actually, cool
Yeah.
fact. The architect who designed the Nobles Library, my former high school, probably one of the best high schools in all the world. They're certainly one of the nicest libraries. Same architect who designed the Boston Public Library. So the first time I went in there last year, because it's relatively new and they renovated it, I was like, wow, this looks exactly like Nobles. Come to find out, same exact architect. How funny is that? There's a more modernized area, and then there's like kind of more of like a museum feel. They have a courtyard. It's great. So back to the story. I get a Boston Public Library card because I was like, look at all the books, a lot of chance to obtain some knowledge, and I haven't been reading as much as I'd like, my own personal reading. So I was like, let me go get a book. So I get this book called Today Matters by, I'm always bad with authors, John C. Maxwell. I haven't read a ton of it yet, but I've made a little dent. And there was this quote, which is the topic that I want, which is the title of this podcast is Words Are Easy. And this quote was profound. It says, there is nothing easier than words, but there's nothing harder than living them day after day after day. Let that one sink in for a second. Nothing easier than words, nothing harder than living them day after day. So let that resonate with people, with the listeners. But to me, we often verbalize our motivation. There's all these quotes we look for to galvanize us and give us that jolt of energy. But we spend so much time thinking about what we're going to do or how we visualize something happening. And we don't spend enough time just doing, because the less time we think and the more time we do, the better off we are. Words are easy. Living them is a whole lot harder. C-Mac, let me get your thoughts on that. I haven't really heard them. We didn't touch base too much off air. So I'm interested in what you have to say.
Yeah, I think from a words are easy standpoint, action's hard. I think I definitely fall victim to it, fall into this loop of planning things out when I'm saying, all right, I'm going to deliver on this, on what I'm saying here. And I get this little motivation, jolt of motivation, excitedness. You know what I mean? It's like, it's that like honeymoon stage where you come up with this idea, this goal,
Yeah.
and you're saying, okay, let me put a plan together. It's always fun to put the plan together. It's
Yes.
always fun. It's so exciting. You know what I mean? You're like, ooh la la. I do this. I feel like everyone else does it. I'm getting to the point where I think it's a waste of time to set, obviously, to an extent, set a plan, but the most important thing is just going out and just starting to execute. I think the plan's going to fall into place once you get out there, but everyone can set a plan, but not everyone can go out
Execute.
and execute it, right? And you don't need a plan to begin to execute on a goal. So I think actions obviously speak louder than words. It's very cliche, but I've fallen into this cycle where I'm starting to get sick of myself and being so excited about planning shit out, um, and not just going out and just saying, let's just fucking do something about it. You know what I mean? So that's where I kind of stand. Like for example, just reading is a good example. Like everyone can read a book, but can you retain the information? Can you apply it? You know what I mean? It's everyone, obviously it's reading words for people who, can read a book. It's easy. Like you just gotta take your time and read through a page, but in order to soak it in and actually apply it to your life, it's an example of that requires a lot more work and effort. And it's just how dedicated are you? You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm falling into that loop, that cycle B. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well, the planning, the planning part is important because what you're living, these words, like you need some direction, and that's a challenge. I feel, and I know we've spoke on it just with the business, especially when we're not as we don't see each other as frequently, such as right now. So, not having a plan is hard. You want to live these words, but you don't know where to start. So having a plan is paramount. But like you said, I think the process of building a plan feels so productive, and it is like that honeymoon stage of, all right, we're on the right track. We have the blueprint now, and then it stops there. Oh, that's the barrier. That's the challenge is how can you need to get over that block. I think I was just preparing for this pod. I had this little distinguishment. I said words are potential energy, and
Oh, get into physics, huh?
converting them into action
Oh,
is kinetic energy, and that allows you to maximize that potential. Okay,
yeah,
so what is
that should be
within
my
those?
quote, dude. Are you an
Yeah, well,
engineer, maybe? A little
maybe, yeah,
physics?
maybe bring that into the office tomorrow. Maybe that'll spark something, and
Yeah,
maybe that'll be the slogan for paperless
I
parts.
like that.
Words are potential energy, actions are kinetic energy. We're here to maximize our potential. Paperless parts. But yeah, I think that's the barrier here with living those words is how you need a plan. You need that first step. But you can't fantasize over the words so much. You got to get into the nitty gritty. You got to convert it into action. And I was also in reflecting on this and right on cue is one of the best exercises, and it's been well documented, is reflection. And when we reflect, we look back on what was done. And we spend too much time thinking about what hasn't even occurred. That's what anxiety is, fear of uncertainty, something that has not occurred. Everyone gets anxious. I get anxious. We all get anxious. But nothing's occurred. We gotta do. You gotta live it. And then you can reassess. Then you can build more of a plan. But you gotta figure out what it is that you works for you and what those words that you want to live are, and then live in them.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I mean, at my company, Paperless Parts, they have this cool thing. Our CEO was in the Navy, and so kind of some of his values and or these paradigms that he brings up on how the business should be ran is the idea of the company's a flywheel, and we have this flywheel award where you are awarded this flywheel award where you get whatever additional stock options or whatever that reward is for being really dedicated in the idea of moving the flywheel. And what a flywheel is essentially is kind of a core piece to an aircraft, right? It helps move the engine, right? It stores mechanical energy, and it helps essentially once you turn the flywheel, all the work is in getting it started. And once you can build that momentum, then all of a sudden, then the aircraft can get off the ground, right? And then you can start flying around wherever you want. So the idea here is once you start getting boots on the ground and actually just putting yourself out there and just doing it, right? Putting action, putting a tool on the metal, essentially. Putting your foot on the gas. I mean, how many more analogies can I make here? Like once you start doing that, that flywheel is going to start turning and you're going to see results, right? You don't see like the flywheel's not turning when you're at the planning stage, right? It's only starts to turn. You only start to get momentum. Your plane only starts to get off the ground when you begin to check boxes off on that plan. And so I think it's good to have a plan in place, but I think you need to have ingrained in you this get shit done mentality before you have this plan shit out mentality, right? Because once you can get shit done, then you're only going to get more efficient when you plan shit out. So, I think combined, you start to become a pretty lethal machine, but you got to be able to, GSD, get down and dirty, right?
Get shit done. Yeah. GSD, be a GSD kind of person. Yeah, man. The whole cliche, actions speak louder than words. I think that is very in line with this quote here. Is we say how we want to live. We say we want to make sacrifices. You say you want this life, or you want to make these changes, or you want to build these habits. It's like, okay, that all sounds great, but now act on it. It's a leap, but a leap you got to take. And what when you live something, when you really live the words, but sometimes having a plan and just being a machine, like you're saying, foot on the gas and finding your way. That then with reflection, you figure out what those words are that you're living. And then that's how you elevate others. That's then how you can, spark other people into action. And that's how you create, that's how you, like we say, one of our values, elevating others and spreading the wealth, spreading the love, because you want everyone to eat, obviously, but you need to live that yourself. What do you say, Colin? You said before you lead others, you got to be able to lead yourself, right? And so that's step one. If you're gonna talk all this and shit, sometimes we do it with this pod, and we talk about these great ideas that we're trying to instill in ourselves and our own lifestyles, but we don't always live it to the max. And we're encouraging.
We're trying to figure it out while we're speaking it, right?
Right. But that's the power of words. When we talk about how words are easy, they are easy, but they're profound. And sometimes I'm just articulating different things and, getting an idea. The first phase of a startup, I remember from our entrepreneurship class back in high school, is the ideate phase. You need the idea first. And so, words generate ideas.
Yeah.
Thoughts become ideas, ideas become actions, actions become habits, habits become lifestyle, baby.
Fucking beautiful quote, dude. Say that one more time.
Thoughts become ideas, ideas become actions, actions become habits, and habits become lifestyle.
Fucking beautiful, B. That's music to my ears, man. I think that this words are easy mantra, I think it can also work in the complete opposite direction. Like saying, what I hear a lot in myself, when I set a lot of lofty goals or have balancing a lot of things on my plate, and I've heard as excuses just around the block is I don't have time for that. I don't have enough time. Right. And so this idea that words are easy can also work in the other direction where you say something such as, I don't have time for that. All of a sudden, you just automatically believe that and you don't try to invalidate that statement. And I think right there, it comes with action. And what I've noticed is, right, you don't have to have a plan for everything, but you got to start. You got to just open up the book. You got to just get your ass in the gym once. All it takes, like what people understand is, think about it exactly like a flywheel. I mean, something like what's a good example? What's something that's hard? Like, think about a train, right? It's just simple physics, B, bringing it back to physics, right? Takes way more energy and force and to start a train, right? But think about how hard it is to stop it once it gets going, right? How much force it's holding on to, that momentum, how much weight is going against it. Like, how much force do you have to apply in the other direction in order to stop the train, right? So all it takes is just get going, because once you get momentum, it's way harder to stop, right? Than to just not start in the first place. So I forget that Nipsey quote. I'm blanking on it. I really want to use it, but something to do with when you're already over halfway there. It's easy, it's easier to just get to the finish line than to just go back to where you came from. You know what I mean? So I should probably have looked up that quote before this, but
All right. It's all right.
it's
Something
all
in
right.
the
We
ballpark.
average a Nipsey. I mean, we average a Nipsey quote an episode, anyways.
Yeah. We always reference Nip. But I like what you said about the opposite of words being easy. Words they also can be a cop out. And sometimes we say things out loud. We verbalize negative thoughts, and they have a direct correlation to what we do, to what our actions are. So it's like we're verbalizing, I'm exhausted, I'm feeling lazy, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to I have to get this done, but I'm gonna put it off. Well, that affects your actions, obviously. So it's like sometimes we too often we verbalize negative things, or we convince ourselves we feel a certain way. I'm feeling all down. I feel like a victim of something, and as a result, then that's like your cop out. So, like you said, it goes both ways. Words can both galvanize us, leave us complacent, or they feel like an excuse.
Yeah.
It's our decision which one it is. I think it's got to be the former. They got to galvanize us if we utilize the power of them well.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, Call?
Yeah, I think a good habit to have is talking about what you are doing, not what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because that is something where words are easy, right? When you tell somebody what you're gonna do, you say that in a sense just to make someone impressed about, oh, what, he has such big goals. Look at how much motivation he has. That's just to kind of sucker somebody in to let me make him believe this. Right? Why don't you just talk about what you're doing, what you're actually executing on? Because then you fall into a space where, okay, you don't deliver on what you're saying, what you said you're gonna do. And then that's exactly what we mean when we say words are easy. It's easy to tell someone, yeah, I'm gonna build my own. I'm working on building my own app. I think starting next year. Next year comes around and all of a sudden it's like, what happened there? I mean, it's a stupid example, but say Brennan, we're growing up, mom and dad be like, hey, can you take the trash out or rake the leaves? And I'll say, yeah, I'll do it later. Right.
Oh, dad would be.
That is the worst. It's like, talk about what you're doing or what you're going to do at the present time. Because once you fall into this cycle of talking about what you're going to do, it doesn't get any easier doing something in the future than doing something in the present. So it's like you're just giving yourself more time to not deliver on what you said you're going to do. And I think that's where a lot of people fall short. And, I think obviously that example I said about way back home in those days, I think, falling short and those are bad habits to build, right? Try and want to talk about what you are doing so you don't fall on the sword that you set for yourself, right? Lay in your bed that you made. A lot of different analogies for it. Go all
analogy, kid. Holy fuck.
baby. I mean, dude, you got to spice it up.
Yeah,
we have viewers. They don't want to just hear, they want to hear, bring everything but the kitchen sink. Like they want to hear about all the cool analogies.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean.
All right. If we're going analogies here, I'll give an analogy. When we talk, words are easy. living them is hard. Sometimes we need to accepting that the action stage of whatever lifestyle or fantasy we desire, that we want to attain, accepting that it will be challenging. We've talked about this. We had a podcast, Finding Your Struggle, embracing that it's going to be difficult and accepting that it's going to be difficult makes it easier. It's ironic, makes it easier and more enjoyable, I think. You talk about an injury here. Now, injuries are not enjoyable. It's not a word I would link with an injury, but I'm going to shout out my roommate right down the hall, Jeff Tan. Tore his ACL at the end of the summer. So he's missing our whole season, and he's such a hard worker, and I'm bummed for him. I'd trade positions with him because he deserves to be healthy. But unfortunate circumstance, he has handled it like a boss. I remember asking him, like, the other day, I said, why are you never like feeling sorry for yourself or bummed out? It's a natural feeling to have when something like this occurs. And he's at practice every day watching all of us play. He can't. And he was like, why would I feel sorry for myself, or why would I play the victim to this? Like it happened. There's nothing I can do. And all I have control of is day to day. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I know I'm going to do what I can now to get myself ready and be in a better place come when I am back. Like that's the kind of shit. Shout out to Jeff Tan. That is admirable. And it's something where you embrace that it's going to suck. You embrace that it's going to be hard, but as a result, it allows you to kind of be more present. And like you said, focus on what you're doing, not what is going to happen and not what did happen.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. And obviously, how you act and the way you carry yourself in the room, it's going to rub off on others, and that mindset. People are going to start to pick up on that. So
100%.
It's powerful. It's good to have a roommate like that. You know what I mean?
Even
if you got to wake up every morning and wake them up for class. But
that is true. That is true. I do get his ass.
It is what it is. Shout out to Jeff Tan. He's a good guy, man.
He's the best.
Fan.
We love Jeff. Friend of the brand, friend of the program.
Good
Yeah. So let that sink in with people. Words are easy. We all kind of have an idea of what we want. But take action. Try to live out what it is you desire.
Yeah. And I think the last thing is, like, you don't get any satisfaction about what you say.
No.
Right? Life satisfaction and feeling complete, right, is when you is all about what you do, not what you say. And when your foundation is built on what you say rather than what you do, then you start to feel like you left a lot on the table, right? You said you're going to do this, and all of a sudden it's empty promise. Oh, I set all these plans up, set all these goals, but I told people that I was going to do it. And then, then I decided I'm trying to do something else. And it's just like, just fucking get after it. You know what I mean? Like, it's pisses me off about myself.
Yes, me too. Me too. Say less, do more. It certainly correlates to the brand, like the amount of times you get asked what's next, and I'll give some ideas of what I think's next or what we think's next, and
just stay tuned. You know what I mean? Just
stay tuned. For us, doing some introspection, we need to do more and say less, and let actions speak, because they do, and people notice how you act. And when your words are misaligned with your actions, that tells a lot about a person. And you can notice it in whether you have teammates that have been bad. I have no bad teammates right now, but in my days I have, where it's all talk. You get people on the bench. It's always a pet peeve of mine. People who are on the bench in a game. And it's hard being on the bench. I've been on the bench. I've been the guy who is end of the bench, who's not sniffing the cord, and it's hard. But when you're the guy who's doing the whole, you're trying to gather up a little clique on the bench, a little committee to say, "Oh, dude, if I was out there, like some of your teammates out there misses a shot, dude, if I was out there, I would fucking make these." Or I guess I wasn't out there, not my fault. Like that's so easy to say. It's so easy to say, and then you're actually sent out there. People get their chance, and then they're like, "Oh, I only got a couple minutes." Well, don't be the guy who says it all, and then it's time to do, and they don't fucking do.
No, it's a good point. But you know what that is? That's about being 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And that's when you don't get that satisfaction of giving everything you got to something, right? That's more about that. That's exactly what we're talking about. Like speaking about it rather than being about it. That's when you're on a team. The most satisfying part about a season is the end of the year, win or loss, whether you win the championship or not. If you gave it all you had and you sacrificed time, you sacrificed sweat for a team, right? And build strong relationships, I'm telling you, the emotions is going to be so natural, and it's going to feel like you guys you feel satisfied. You feel like you gave everything you had, and you're proud of yourself. And people that just talk about it and kind of try and branch out don't get that feeling. They're blank faced. They're laughing at the end of the year. It's like when you see people with tears at the end of a sports season, it's like it's real because they gave everything that they had, left it everything out there for the team on the court, on the pitch, on the field. It's like, you know what I mean? Those are the true soldiers. Those are the true people that are going to look back and say, I don't regret a damn thing. I did everything I could.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. And another thing is, staying on the topic of teammates, we had a scrimmage, and some of the guys on my team played awesome. And, sometimes I played well too. But you think about it, sometimes in the course of a season, or certainly over the course of a season, if you have a bad game or you struggle shooting, you feel a sense of like entitlement. Like, I put in all the work. Why is it not coming to me? And as a teammate, you need to remember all your other teammates did the same shit. They put in all this work. And when they see it materialize into something great and success, that's when you got to be happy for them, because they're doing, maybe it's a different process, but they're going through the same kind of struggle and grind that you are. So like they earn that, and they might not be talking it, but their actions are converting into some success at points. And that's when being a great teammate is being happy, because you know how much they put in. Maturing in that way.
There you go. That's growth.
Couple announcements here as we wrap this up. More Than Different scholarship live on morethandifferent.com. Still, we've had a few applications. Looking forward to reading through all those. We plan to get this out certainly before the new year, so another couple months. Still getting applications. That is, you go on morethandifferent.com, you'll see the banner up top. Click on that. You got the application, just about a 600-word essay that really dives deep and makes you do some reflection on what makes you more than different. So a chance to earn $550. We have 3 separate scholarships available. So go apply if you're a college student or an incoming college student next year. So a high school senior, that is. Go apply. That's what it's out there for. All college students and high school seniors. Get those applications in. Head to morethandifferent.com. Any final thoughts, Call?
I think you touched on everything. Like, bottom line is, when in doubt, say less, do more.
When in doubt, say less, do more. I love that. And even in this quick moment, you get this jolt, and now I'm like, get off this pod. It's like, keep the momentum going. Well, guess what? Tomorrow, the momentum will diminish again. And now that's when the actions, the discipline sets in. What do you do when the motivation isn't there and the words aren't so easy to live by? How do you still live them? That's the challenge.
Food for thought.
That's the challenge. But yeah, while you're at it, everyone go over to morethandifferent.com. We still have the Emblem rope hats in abundance, and they are special. I've sold a ton. They've been a hit, and they're damn near flawless, but there's still a lot available. And it's a great time. It's getting that little chilly brisk, but nothing crazy. The ears can still be out and showing. So get yourself an Emblem hat. My roommate actually just got one the other day, and he was like, "Why the hell did I not get one?" Well, yeah, well, he was a I don't know why he didn't, but rather what do they say? Never too late. No. Yeah, I guess just never too late.
Never too
Um,
late.
Never too late. So be like my roommate. It's okay if you're late to the movement.
Better late than never, be. I think that's what you're
Better
going for.
there it is. Better late than never. Better late than never. The rope hats are just outstanding. So go get yourself one at morethandifferent.com. And we may even just toss something else in there. You never know. It depends how we're feeling. But let's just keep building this thing.
Facts. More than different. We're gonna be at your neck. Say less, do more, baby.
Say less, do more. All right, people. Hope everyone has a great week. We're heading into November. What are your monthly goals? Say them and then go fucking do them. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Peace.